Did you miss me? I've missed you guys. I know 7 p.m. foam rolling is coming back, but not until fitness protection opens officially and completely. We're getting ready to launch the beta version just to make sure it works, just to make sure the back end's okay, and just to make sure that the processes all flow as smoothly as I want them to for a very seamless user experience. So in these few minutes before we start foam rolling, or at least I start foam rolling and you guys can answer questions, you guys can ask questions, I wanted to talk through kind of like what is happening. I know that all of that sort of came out of nowhere. And it seems like it happened rather quickly, but in reality I've been thinking about this for the better part of 7 years. So in 2013, I mean, if you've trained with me for any period, you've probably heard the story about how I was busted, I was broken, I had Irish twins, and then we moved to altitude. And the fun thing about altitude is they take away 2/3 of your oxygen, and then you have to still function. And on top of functioning, I had to heal from Irish twins and start training for the New York City Marathon. And I immediately knew I was going to need help with this because I knew I'd never been this unfit, and even climbing stairs was really tricky. So at that point, I went out and I started looking for a coach. And what I didn't understand at the time was that, I knew, even though I've been running my entire life, I had no idea where to start to bring myself back from where I was. I had no idea if even a marathon 6 months from then was possible. And what I came to realize was neither did anyone else. Run coaches tend to, they're a very specific niche of the fitness industry, meaning it is one thing to take someone that is already fit and then make them really ready in a very specific way for a marathon or performance in another distance event. It is another thing entirely to take a person that isn't already at a certain period of fitness and bring them back to the point where they're ready to start training for something. And if you were to visualize it like that's a cutoff, most personal trainers play in this space where getting you to it's their specialty to get you to baseline. Strength conditioning professionals. And then run coaches are for people that have already reached a certain baseline. And what you do in that in the basement is really literally how I think of it. Sorry, I know it's hard to visualize. I'm a visual person. So if you think of it, it's the baseline. Getting ready to train, and then training. This is very specific. So all the run coaches I found were like, go reestablish, go get fit, and then call me. I'm like, well, I know I need help getting fit. That's where you come in. They were like, no, that's not what we do. And almost every run coach that I called, I was like, look, I'm not new to this. I'm a marathoner. I've been running my entire life. I've done this before. I've done all of this before. I just don't know what to do right now. And they were like, neither do we. Because where I was coming from, my experience didn't matter. None of it. And so when I talk about training age versus experience, that is from personally if ever you stood before me and thought I was demeaning you by saying actually your experience is this but your training age is this, that was not intended to demean in any way. I've been on the other end of that conversation and I know how much it sucks. I know that it wasn't my fault. At that point, I was still assigning a moral value to it, because we tend to, right? Fit people work hard, fat people don't. It's very binary and gross and disgusting the way that we talk about these things. So no wonder I walked into this situation feeling very defensive. So I remember how angry I was because at the time I was super, super constrained. We had hella student loans. My husband and I had gone to grad school independently, never really intending to fall in love, get married, or have one baby, much less 4, in a very short period of time. And when we took out those loans at the time, it was $2,500 for each of us, right? I never intended to leave the job market, neither did he. So there was no stupidity going on there. It was just like, oh wow, we're pregnant. Oh wow, I got laid off. Oh wow, we're moving to Houston. Boom, all within a 3-week period. It was a lot. It was a lot, especially on a new marriage. So I tell you that to tell you this. We's poor. $5,000 of debt on one income alone was really hard to do. So when this guy told me when my friends at New York Roadrunners said, hey, here's an entry to the New York City Marathon. Come up here for a weekend. We know if your husband's a consultant, you've probably got some frequent flyer miles. Use those. Come here. We'll do things we've done before, and we're going to have some fun. And I was like, I am so unfit. I can't do this thing I've done before. Oh, my God. This gift was pressure, and it felt like a nightmare. So when I went to this guy and said, well, not just this guy. I went to several people, to be clear, and they were very kind. Nobody was rude. Nobody was mean. No one made me feel bad. I felt bad walking into the situation, but I was asking for help that they literally did not know how to give. So all of them said roughly the same thing. I think you should hire a personal trainer and then come back to me when you're fit again. I can help you get ready. And I'm like, well, how long is it going to take? I don't know. It depends on how hard you want to work. I'm like, I'll do whatever. I just don't know what to do or where to start. But I knew for sure I was never going to be able to come up with the money to work with a personal trainer. That was a huge expense. Like, coming up with the $30 required for a babysitter to go meet that guy that night had been a stretch. So coming up with sitter money for 2 very small children on top of like the money for the personal trainer and the regularity that would have been required, it was just completely out of the question. I was like, I don't understand why I can't get fit by running. I thought I have maintained fitness for most of my life through nothing but running and strength when required. So I was so angry at that answer. That was what sent me down the rabbit hole initially, being like, fine, I will become the coach I want to hire. And if someday I get to do this, I am never going to charge more than a price that I could not have afforded back then. So I'm committed to keeping this priced very reasonably, making it as scalable as possible. But in order to achieve those 2 aims, I'm going to have to do things a little bit differently than I've been doing before. But before I get there, let's chat a little bit about what's coming. And this is a reward for, or at least I consider this a reward for everyone who's been training with me for a while, who made the leap to come here and get a Twitch account. I love this medium. I love this platform. I'm not going to use it less. I love the interactive. Even though sometimes we get people in here that probably like do and say weird things, as long as I have a moderator that can help me control that flow, it's still a really good experience for everyone around. So as a reward for everyone that still pays attention when you get Twitch notifications that says, hey, Coach MK is going live, run. This is the grand plan. I'm not going to answer more questions about it until it's ready to go. This is going to be the sole time I will discuss part of this vision that I've been trying to pull together since 2013. So, because it all ties into something else that is much bigger, but that's going to take a few years to roll out. When I told y'all that I was coming back from a year in bed with big plans, I was not kidding. Hello, I missed you, Gretchen. Thank you for being here. So here we go. These are the 3 phases throughout. As someone who has been running since I was 6 years old, I know it's really tricky for you guys because until you get to the point that you want to hire a coach, it becomes, do I really need one? And the answer is yes, because we answer questions, we keep you going, we set the course, we tell you what to do. It is wonderful to have a GM. If you listen to, there was a podcast recently with Julie Foodie, where she talks with Glennon Doyle and Abby Wambach. And Abby talks about leaving professional soccer and says, on her way out the door, she asked the GM, could you please still send me his schedule? It would be so nice. I will forget to do things. You were always so great at telling me like when to change the oil in my car and to make sure that I got my uniforms to the dry cleaner or whatever. And she said that is the thing, the aspect of being told what to do, of having someone else make the plan for her that she missed the most. And I'm like, that is exactly, we don't need to be in training mode all the time, but there's something beautiful about having a plan 24/7 and just kind of knowing what to do, opting in a very gentle way to something. It shouldn't always be like I only get a plan when I'm ready to commit and I'm super aggressive. We've been looking at it wrong. As someone that has never run professionally, has never run on a competitive basis, that does not consider herself to be an athlete for precisely that reason, there's never truly been a competitive aspect with other people to my running. It's always been about what do I want. It's been super navel gazing, even though I hate that phrase. There's nothing wrong with looking at your own damn navel and knowing what you want out of anything you choose to put yourself into. But we tend to talk it down in this culture as selfish. It's okay. It is stupid to enter into anything not knowing what you want to get out of it or what you need to have. It's the opposite of selfish. It's the best investment you could possibly make to think about what do I need to get before you go. But I digress. As someone, usually when people hire a coach, they want the best coach possible. They look for the coachiest coach. They want the one who has the best track record, who knows the most. And I will be the first to tell you, I've been doing this for 5 years. I am a housewife with an MBA that is underemployed and has been for the better part of a decade. But I have been running for 3. I've been running for 3.5 decades on sheer luck and fear, because my dad had that heart attack when I was really, really little, and it was the fear of God was literally put into us. If you stop running, you may die. This is exactly what you need to do, and you need to do it for the rest of your life. I pay attention to the American Heart Association guidelines, and I implicitly bake them into all of my training plans. So, but I digress. When I think about usually when you hear like a professional runner talk about how they moved through their running career, it looks nothing like what mine has looked like. And I'm willing to bet that mine looks more like your experience in your life than anything else you'll ever see. So when I tell my story, we can draw a straight line back to you in a very easy to grasp way. The 3 phases I have been in pretty consistently throughout my life, no matter what has happened. I've either been at ground zero or not really where I wanted to be yet, rebuilding. I have been in a place that I didn't mind, with a pretty firm foundation that I wanted to maintain, with different options to upgrade when necessary. Because remember, we can't be in a training cycle all the time. We burn out, we get hurt, we get bored, we get exhausted, right? But during all of that, you maintain 20 all year round, and then only specialize and take the up ramp into like marathon training or getting ready for a really fast 5K or whatever at the last minute when it's necessary. What most people do is take too much time off in the off season, too much time off in between, and expect to come back where they were, and it doesn't work that way. So I've either been rebuilding, maintaining, or I've been a runner interrupted, and I have this trademark now. This program will be the last one that I roll out because it's going to be the most interesting and the most complicated. But after spending a year in bed, that was when I needed the coach the most, and it was when I was least able to find one. This is the period when I needed a coach the second most, and I was least able to find one. These people are a dime a dozen, but you guys, generally speaking, only hire a coach when you're in a training cycle. So I am going to wait to roll out the training cycles. I'm going to start grabbing people here, here, and here. If you are broken, I have a program coming for you. If you are coming back from being broken, I have a transition program just for you that'll get you back to wherever it is you wanted to be. And if you are coming out of a training plan in the near future, I got a plan to help you maintain all that fitness you built without burning out in the off season. And pretty soon I'm going to have an up ramp for you. I've said it before, I'll say it again. As long as you maintain the way that I have maintained for the better part of my adult life, you only need 10 weeks to sharpen up for a marathon and 6 to sharpen up for a half or any shorter distance. It's amazing. Everything is easy when you're already fit. This is the hard stuff. And I am here for the hard stuff. I am here for the difficult conversations, and you need less than you think you do. It's just really hard to find. You're not needy. You never were. Your needs were very simple and very eloquent. And I'm here to take care of all of you. I cannot wait to get started. Yay, we're in fuego. So that is that. If you are interested in being part of any of the beta tests, and the beta test is going to be really coming soon. We're going to start with this product, and this is going to be rolling out relatively soon. If you want to be a part of that, info@coachedandloved.com. If you think Runner Interrupted sounds really, really awesome, this is the last rollout, but it will be coming out this year. info@coachedandloved.com. Email me and put the title of the program you care about in the subject line. I will reach back out. My team, I got a team. We will reach back out to you and let you know when these beta tests are opening. They're not going to be very large. I can't promise I can accommodate everyone in the beta, but there will be room for everyone in the actual program. My goal is to roll this out as quickly as possible because at least I got 6 more weeks with Violet at home, and then she starts daycare, and from then we're going to be cooking with Crisco. Yay! I'll write that down for you, even though I'm sure no one can see it because the camera's really far back. go. Sweet. So that's it for now. Congratulations if you followed my instructions a long time ago and got on Twitch like I pretty please I with sugar on top ask everyone to do. You know first, you know best, and you know most. Because to tell you what, when I started making my plans, I kept them all in here. I kept my mouth shut. I talked to the attorneys and no one else. I got trademarks coming. I got patents pending. I got plans for you. Yay! Let's foam roll, shall we?